Welcome to the Enterprise Budget, a farm financial tool. This is an introductory level program explaining an enterprise budget. I am Jim Hillary, the Agriculture and Natural Resources Extension Agent for Virginia Cooperative Extension in Loudoun County, Virginia. This presentation supports the 8008 series curriculum, Introduction to Animal Systems, developed by Virginia's Office of Career, Technical, and Adult Education Services. Anita Monnie and Dory Farmer are friends. They've known each other for 15 years. Anita will soon begin her freshman year at My Town Community College. Dory is a dairy producer. She is older than Anita. In fact, many years ago, Dory used to babysit for Anita. Dory recently told Anita that she would pay $800 if Anita would raise one of her dairy calves from birth to 6 months old. Dory explained that this is an experiment. She wanted to hire someone to raise one of her heifer calves for 6 months so she could focus on milk production and cow care. If this arrangement works for both of them, she will consider repeating it with a second calf. Anita can use $800. She would like to buy a car. Besides, the idea of raising a calf interests her. She likes Dory's calves, and there is an empty paddock behind her father's barn. He will like this idea because he has been encouraging Anita to learn more about farm business decisions. Holder Mentor is Anita's cousin. He graduated from college a few years ago and is now a financial counselor with an office in town. Anita told Holder that she was thinking about jobs to earn money. One job idea is raising a calf for Dory Farmer. The second idea is working 12 hours a week at the Dairy Hair ice cream shop. Anita thinks that both jobs will take the same amount of her time, although at very different times of the day. Anita doesn't want to work at the ice cream shop, but her father said she must have a job while attending classes at the community college. Holder understands why Anita would not want to work at the Dairy Hair. The business has been in operation for decades, and its owner, Mr. Cohn, has employed many teenagers during those years. Most of those employees will agree that Mr. Cohn is a demanding boss. He has very high standards for shop cleanliness and punctuality. He also requires employees to play music from the 1920s on the shop's sound system. Holder knows from experience that raising calves has challenges too, but he thinks Anita should look at the numbers and make an informed decision. He recommends that Anita create an enterprise budget to help her compare the amount of money she could earn working at the Dairy Hair with the money she could earn raising a calf. Holder said he would help her. Anita Monnie decided to accept Holder's help and has started to create an enterprise budget. Holder explained that the input information is important. The more time and attention that Anita gives to finding accurate input information, the better the budget will help her predict her profit from raising a calf. As some people say, garbage in, garbage out. Holder recommended that Anita think about everything that she must have to keep the calf healthy. The list will be long and include things like shelter, medicine, a blanket, a halter, and most important for a newborn calf, a nursing bottle, and a whole lot of milk or milk replacer. Holder said, Anita, if you need it for the calf and you don't have it now, you must buy or borrow, and everything that you buy requires money. Anita's first attempt to make an enterprise budget wasn't as successful as she had hoped. Her list included feed, hay, nursing bottles, a breaking halter, and a calf blanket. Holder agreed that those items are needed. However, he explained that it's not enough to simply list the needed items. Anita also had to find the cost of those items. He pointed out that some of the things she needs will last for years, while others will be used up each day. Those daily costs must be identified and included in the budget. Also, the calf can't walk from Dory's farm to Anita's house, so it must be hauled. Anita can borrow her father's truck and trailer, but she knows that he will want her to buy the gasoline. Holder sensed that Anita was ready to give up, so he offered to discuss each section of the enterprise budget with her. This would help her finish sooner. Starting with the column headers at the top of the budget document, Holder explained the titles. A unit is the smallest single number that a product or a service is sold as a complete item or as a period of time. Examples of units are 1 pound, 1 block, $1, and 1 month. The number of units is how many Anita will use over 6 months. Price or cost per unit is the dollar amount for 1 unit. Units costing less than $1 are recorded as a dollar percentage in cents. Total value. How much all of the units of a product or a service cost or are worth. Holder explained that an enterprise budget starts with the projected revenue, which in this situation is $800, the amount of money that Dory promised to give Anita for raising one of her calves for 6 months. If Anita convinced Dory to give her $50 more, Anita's revenue would be $850. Operating costs are expenses that Anita must pay simply because Anita is raising a calf. If Anita agreed to raise 2 calves, her expenses would increase. Anita's expenses might decrease if Anita agreed to raise the calf for 5 months rather than for 6 months. Feed includes the price of the food that Anita provides to the calf, but should also consider the transportation costs for getting that food from the store to the barn. Think about everything needed to feed the calf, such as milk or milk replacer, starter feed, hay in the later months, and even the grass and clover in the pasture. Grass and clover might grow on their own, but there are costs for fertilizing, seeding, and mowing the field. Health includes the medical items needed to keep the calf healthy, such as electrolyte powder, vaccinations, antibiotic sprays, and treatments for parasite control. Hauling covers the cost to transport the animal to and from Dory's farm or to the veterinarian. Supplies include the items that Anita might buy if she planned to show the calf, for example, shampoo, or grooming products, or stall decorations. Anita is not planning to show the calf or buy any of these items. Labor is included in this enterprise budget so Anita can make a comparison between working for Dory, raising a calf for $800, or working for Mr. Cohn, earning $7.50 an hour. Anita thinks the time she spends at either job will be about the same, 12 hours a week, which is 288 hours for 6 months, the time necessary to raise the calf. It can be confusing to add labor as an opportunity cost in the form of wages from Dairy Hair Ice Cream Shop. However, it is a quick way to show how much money Anita will not earn from working at the shop because she decided to raise the calf instead. Recall Holder recommended that Anita create an enterprise budget so she could compare the income from those two jobs. Interest on operating capital is the cost of a loan if Anita were to accept a loan from Holder. Interest is calculated as a percentage of the amount of the money that Anita borrows. If Anita borrows $300 to purchase a calf hutch, Holder will charge her 5% of that loan amount, which is his company's interest rate for small loans like Anita's. Total operating cost is the sum of all the operating costs combined. The total operating cost value is high because it includes the amount of money that Anita will not earn if she decides to raise the calf rather than work at Dairy Hair Ice Cream Shop. By including the amount of money that she will not earn because she does not work for Dairy Hair, Anita can see how much she gives up in return for $800. Income above operating costs is the amount of money that Anita will receive for raising the calf compared with her operating costs plus the wages she will not earn if she decides to raise the calf rather than work at the ice cream shop. Ownership costs are also called fixed costs. These are expenses that include payment for property taxes and insurance on buildings, facilities, and equipment. Property costs and insurance. At home, Anita's parents pay these costs, but Anita's father will charge her a small amount so she learns about the many considerations of production farming. Livestock facilities include the cost of corrals, a shelter, or a barn. Normally, these expenses are depreciated or spread out over the expected life of the facility. For example, a pen that costs $500 new may have a useful life of 10 years. Dividing that $500 by 10 years would give Anita a cost of $50 per year for the pen. However, given that this calf may be a one-time activity, go ahead and skip the depreciation calculations and insert a purchase price. Equipment includes things like clippers, halters, blankets, brushes, a fitting stand, combs, hoses, feeders, pitchforks, or a wheelbarrow. Normally, these are depreciated or spread out over the life of the equipment. For example, clippers that cost $150 may have a useful life of 10 years, so Anita's yearly cost would be $15. However, given that this calf may be a one-time activity, go ahead and skip the depreciation calculations and insert a purchase price. Utilities is actually one of the types of expenses described as overhead. Overhead includes rent, utilities, or other miscellaneous costs. Anita's father will charge a small amount for utilities so Anita can learn about the many considerations of production farming. Total ownership cost. This is the sum of all of Anita's ownership costs. It includes property costs and insurance, the calf hutch, equipment, and utilities. Total cost. This is the sum of Anita's operating costs plus ownership costs. This dollar figure helps Anita understand her cost if she decides to raise a calf for $800 rather than work at Dairy Hair Ice Cream Shop and earn $2,160. Net profit. This enterprise budget shows a loss of $2,142.84. Now, Anita does not have to pay that amount if she raises a calf rather than work at the ice cream store. However, the amount tells Anita that she is missing an opportunity to earn much more money working for Mr. Kung. This is the last slide in this presentation. Because this is a recorded program, I invite questions and feedback through email or telephone. I give special thanks to Scott Nash and Ben Eborn with University of Idaho Extension, whose publication, 4-H Livestock Cost and Returns Estimate number 72596, provided the template for Holder Mentor's enterprise budget.